If you meet me in real life, you'll know that I can talk, and it seems like with great confidence. But as soon as I have to talk to a camera, pretending that it's a person, I get tongue-tied and I forget what I have to say. And I get very self-conscious. But dang, do I have to say, I look pretty good today. Just compliment myself, don't worry about me. So welcome back to my second soap making video. I'm very excited. So today I'm going to be showing you how I made the iced coffee soaps. So this soap was Stardew Valley themed. What's the name of the dude? This guy in Stardew Valley, and he loves coffee. Like, you give him the gift, like he loves it. I forgot his name. So my friends actually kind of helped collaborate with me. They helped me out to learn about the game and stuff like that. And I've heard that it is a very popular game. I know that's a very lovable game. It's got cute little characters and things in it. So I made an iced coffee soap. This iced coffee soap is so cute. Wait until you see the decorations on top. Or if you're following me on my Instagram and my Facebook page, SOAPS, the links will be down below for my social medias. Please do give a follow because you get to see the sneak peeks of before the videos come up. So if you're following me on my Instagram, you would have already seen the tops of these soaps. So they look absolutely gorgeous. It's like, how cute. These soaps are going to be sold for the first time. They'll be debuting and being sold for the first time at Sydney Supanova 2019. I'll also put the details down below for that. It's almost like a dream come true to actually be able to sell my things at Supanova. So I was quite excited about how these turned out. They look gorgeous. I hope you guys like it. If you have any suggestions for soaps that you reckon would be pretty cool, don't forget, inspired by fact and fiction. So take your inspiration from anywhere. Leave a comment down below and we'll see if they get made in the future. Don't forget to like the video and please subscribe to my channel because I'll be having other videos coming out over the coming weeks and months as I build up my collection, and I hope that you enjoy.
Okay, to start here I have my mixture of oils and my lye water, which have both been cooled to room temperature, and I'm adding the lye water into the mixture. I found out just the other day from watching somebody else make soap that you actually pour it like onto the stick blender so that it will help reduce splashing, because I mean you can still see I got bubbles in there, but I usually swirl around my stick blender without turning it on first like that, just so that I can get any bubbles out. And then we start the process of mixing it all together so that we can get a light trace there. So this process is called emulsion, where it will combine, so we don't want any of the oil or the lye water to be separate anymore. Now I'm going to add some coffee mica. This is coffee colored. It's a really lovely light brown shimmery color, and this is going to obviously make the soap also a light brown, and this is going to contrast nicely with the darker brown swirls of the grated up coffee soap that has been previously prepared, which you're going to see in a few seconds. Scraping down the sides of the containers are really important because oftentimes you will have residue of the soap before you've added the next part to it, kind of splashing up the sides. And so I want to scrape that down so that it will also get mixed in really well. I've just decided to add a bit more of the coffee mica there because I felt like it wasn't the right kind of brown, or like a bit dark enough. And so I'm quite happy with that color, and I still want to try and keep the soap at a thin enough trace so it's still kind of liquidy there, because I do notice that when I put previously made soap mixture into a liquid soap, that it can also tend to become a bit more firmer. So I'm just adding the coffee fragrance into this soap, and I don't actually drink coffee personally. Not usually am I attracted to coffee smells. I usually find it not to my liking, but this one smells really delicious. Like, it almost smells like some kind of coffee dessert, I would say. It's not too sweet at all, but it doesn't have the really strong bitter coffee smell, not at all. So it's a really nice, I'd say all-round kind of coffee smell that a lot of people would enjoy. I've just mixed that in by hand using the spatula because using the stick blender really speeds up the process and kind of accelerates it so it will harden up more. And this is the giant container of grated coffee soap. So I actually have I have a light brown and a dark brown swirl contrast in the soaps, and there's also coffee granules ground through that. So there'll be slight exfoliation when using this soap, which I thought was a really cool idea. So we've actually got lots of patterns and contrast going on there. So this I grated up so it's nice and fine, lots of little pieces there, and there is so much soap in that bucket. So this is gonna last me for a while making coffee soap. So I'm just about to mix it into the main mixture, and I'm using a rough measurement of handfuls at the moment, and so I can write that down later on watching this back so I know how many handfuls of soap that I put in to make sure that I put the correct amount in next time. Again, scraping down the sides, you don't want to leave any of that extra mixture left over because I mean it just goes to waste. There's nothing else to do with it otherwise. And pulling out my beautiful trusty acrylic mold shaper. It's just a mold. Well, I guess it does shape. It shapes soap into molds. So I can see that I was a bit worried it was kind of a bit thickened, and you can see it looks like it's thickened up. Putting the fragrance oil into soap automatically will start to thicken up soap mixture. So depending on the type of fragrance, depends on how fast it thickens, but thankfully after shaking it down we can see that it's actually started to settle. So it's just a matter of the liquid soap trying to get in between all the crevices and holes and cracks made by the grated soap that's already there. Smoothing it down on top, I want to make sure that it's nice and as level as I can get it as I scrape out the remainder of the soap. Unfortunately, I got a little bit messy with this soap. I was preoccupied trying to make sure that I was moving fast enough that the soap wouldn't set before I wanted it to. I will also tap down this soap loaf to make sure that there aren't any more air bubbles in it, but it's always nice to try and use a spatula to get it all into the nooks and crannies of the container. And now we have moved on to the icing. So I've let the loaf of soap sit for probably about an hour or two, and making the icing is the exact same process as making the body of the soap as well, except the only difference is that we mix it up for a lot longer. So the longer you mix it for, the thicker the soap gets. So it just depends on if you want it to be really runny or if you want it to be really thick. Both of them have their advantages depending on the type of soap and, like, say, the patterns that you want to make with soap. But as this is frosting or icing that I'm going to be putting on top, if it's too runny, it's not going to hold its shape and it's just going to run liquid all over the top of the soap. I've decided to use the same coffee mica colorant in the icing on top. I've just left it a little bit lighter than the body of the soap because I wanted it to kind of, I guess, look like coffee cream or something. Is that a thing? Coffee cream? I don't know. This ends up being a bit of a strain on my arm, I'm not gonna lie, so just sped up the process there of mixing it all up. It took me about 10 minutes roughly to mix that batch of soap icing to the consistency I wanted. Using my favorite star tip again on the icing bag, and I'm gonna fill it up and get ready to go. just turned around my container there because I realized that I'd only put the measuring markers for how big the slices were on one side of the container. So now that I can see it, I'll know to make sure that I pipe my icing evenly, and also to make sure that it's not anything that's important for each slice is not going to accidentally get cut off when I cut them into their individual pieces. So I feel like that I have the icing at a really good consistency to start. Luckily, I was able to judge pretty well. I'm still getting the hang of judging how thick or not thick it should be. But if the soap is a bit thicker than it should be, you do want to pipe really quickly. I'm rather proud of myself and how my piping skills are going. I want to try something a bit fancier in future, so hopefully we'll see that in some of the upcoming videos. But I'm just going along, and I've decided to pipe down one side directly just to make sure that I get them evenly on each piece of soap with the help of the measurements there. And once that, I can go back and I'm going to do the other 2 rows that go along the bottom. Piping the second layer of the icing, I'm using a slightly different technique, if you want to say, putting a bit more pressure on. I'm not making them just tiny little star prints like the bottom row was. You can see that I'm squeezing a bit more into it, so it kind of gets that squiggly look as if it's like a little pile of cream. And this is going to be a really good support because they're slightly bigger than the star prints on the bottom. That will help support the large piece of whipped cream that's going to go directly on top. I decided to go along and add a few more pieces of icing along each side because I felt like there was a few holes here or there. It could look a bit fuller, I think. So I've added those in, which will help add a lot more fullness to the tops of the soap. This will also provide some support when I add the straws into the tops in a moment. Now with the coffee beans, I had a vague idea that I was like, yep, I'm definitely putting little cute straws in the tops of these drink soaps, and I'm also going to put some coffee beans on top so it helps, you know, relate it back to the coffee theme. But I just kind of thought I would be sprinkling the coffee beans on top. These straws are so cute. These are paper straws and they are silver holographic. So I thought that kind of added to the whole, I guess, like Stardew Valley, I don't know. So as I was placing the coffee beans on top, I decided, I was like, you know what, I'm going to put a couple on top because you gotta always put something right on the top. And I realized that one little coffee bean, it wasn't really going to cut it, like it was too small. And so I put a little cluster of coffee beans on top, and then I was like, you know what, that's all it needs. Like this and the straws, it looks so cute. It's pretty like minimalist, I'd say, but very simple, but really cute. Like I was really excited about this idea that I just kind of had as I was doing it. And I'm like, you know what, why wreck something if it's already there? You know, if it's already done right, why keep going? You might ruin it. now just going to turn the soaps in a different direction so that it's a bit easier for me to see where I'm putting the straws in. So I did notice that I need to probably put a middle line measurement mark on the sides of my molds so that I can pipe the tops of my soaps straight, in a straight line. As you can see, they're slightly off to the right there, but as I discovered, that actually worked out really well because it kind of offset me putting the straws in. So I'm just making sure that I'm putting the straws in deep enough so they're going to stay stuck in there, but also that they're not wonky or off to the side, and that they are all kind of like matching. Because I do know that when I wrap my soaps in plastic, I use plastic which is recyclable, by the way, environmentally friendly. Then when I do wrap things in plastic, that if any of the embeds that are on top or anything of the accessories of the soaps are sticking out too much, or if they're too pointy, too far away from the body of the soap, that sometimes it will break through the plastic quite easily. And here are the finished soaps. Well, almost finished. Of course, I'm going to spray the tops with a little bit of snowflake mica using a really cool little like spray dispenser. This is really helpful because that way you're not going to get big chunks or blobs of the glitter falling in one place. So the mica goes over the top. I really love this mica. I'm pretty sure it's called snowflake mica. And so it's pretty, what do you call it? Like neutral so it's not plain. It's very neutral, so I can use it for a lot of products and just adds a bit of shine, but I really thought it combined with the holographic straws. So this is a close-up of the product, the soap, right after I've just iced it and put it all together. And I'm so excited with how it turned out. I think it looks really pretty. It's very minimalist, very simple, but I really like it. Okay, so it's been a few days, or I might have to admit that it's like been a week. My bad. So we're about to cut the soap up, but this is just me showing you taking off the bottom part of the mold. So I do have a plastic wrap which I put on around the mold as well, just to help with the smooth removal of the acrylic from the soap. So it just pops off really easily, especially when the soap is really solid. I often find that even if the mold and the cling wrap won't come away easily, then I probably need to leave it for like another day, I'd say, the soap. But these have been hardening up really nicely. They look gorgeous. The top icing is a bit of a lighter shade to the rest of the soap and just really adds to it. Because I've left the soap for almost a week, I'd say, I've actually just discovered that the soap is actually quite hard for this one in particular. I'm not sure if it's because there's, like, if you want to say, extra soap inside with the grated spiraled coffee soap, but I was having to push down quite a lot to cut these up. And here is the very first look at the inside of the soap. how pretty! I love that it looks like it has a bit of movement in there with the way that the curls are swirled in. We can see that down the side there is a little bit of like a mark there, and that is because of the ground coffee soap. The ground coffee soap. That's because of the ground coffee that I've put in the soap. So sometimes it will drag through the slice of the soap, but it's nothing major. It's just a little bit of a detail, you know, that adds to it. This is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed, and I can't wait to show you what else I have in store.